All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here, and today I'm here to ask the question that is on everybody's mind, including my own, and that is, will Bitcoin die someday? And of course, we can't say for sure, otherwise this would be Back to the Future, where we can take a sports book back in time and of course make all of the best bets possible and make a lot of money. But we can certainly delve into the question, and I think to do that, we first have to start with a little history of Bitcoin itself. So Bitcoin came along in 2009, and it was the one of the first cryptocurrencies. There was other digital currencies before that. It's certainly not a wasn't a brand new idea at the time, but it was certainly very innovative. And of course, look at it now; it took off like a rocket. It took many years to do that, but what stock or coin or anything investment does take off that quickly? So in 2009, it was created, and I have to go to the all here to go all the way back, and this really only goes back to 2013, but it really was created in 2009. It wasn't really trading on many exchanges back then. You just pretty much mined it originally with your CPU, and then people quickly found out that the GPU was exponentially faster than the CPU of your computer for mining, and then eventually, of course, ASICs came along with the SHA-256 algorithm crunching rectangular boxes that we know today. So along came 2013 when there was a crash, and everybody kind of thought it was going to die then. Now, I certainly remember this. I remember being on my computer and looking at the news and various, of course, being in the world on the internet. Of course, you heard about Bitcoin and the hack that occurred at Mount Gox, and a lot of people lost their money. And I remember thinking to myself, boy, what a silly idea to buy this cryptocurrency with your real money. What are you going to do with it exactly? Because I remember there wasn't any outlets, there wasn't BitPay back then. People weren't really buying things with it. I remember mom and pop stores popping up from time to time, and they would accept Bitcoin for their various goods. But it wasn't nearly as widespread as it was today. So you couldn't go to Walmart, you couldn't just go to a department store, you couldn't buy groceries with it like you can to some degree today, even though that's still sort of an ongoing process. And I believe that once Amazon gets onto Bitcoin, then it should really take off. But we'll get into that in just a minute. So now there are plenty of documentaries on the creation and history of Bitcoin, and some of them are really good. In fact, Bitcoin kind of has a fun history in that Satoshi, the original creator of it, nobody really knows who he is, and there's some conspiracy of who he actually is, and the first person to ever receive a Bitcoin, some people think it was that guy that is actually the creator, but nobody really knows for sure. And so Bitcoin survived for a long time after that, and you can see for years here, the price remained relatively stable, $200, $300, $400, and then it started to take off. There was a big crash, or dip, if you will, and I believe this is the particular dip right here. No, it must have been, which one was it? But China had banned Bitcoin, and everybody thought Bitcoin was dead. There was another dip at some point. This might be the Ethereum dip here, one of these, and then one of them is the China dip, and then one is the Bitcoin Cash creation dip as well. So one problem, and the reason why people are a little concerned with Bitcoin at the moment, is that it costs an inordinate amount to sell, trade, or give somebody Bitcoin. To basically transfer Bitcoin from one wallet to the other is currently about $33, and I can actually attest to that. Just a few days ago, I went to newegg.com and I bought two GTX 1080 Ti's with my Bitcoin, with some of my Bitcoin, and it was $30 per transaction. Now, I had to make two separate transactions because the way they set it up, it's one per customer, and I was just kind of weaseling my way around that, but we'll keep that on the download, even though this is a public video, whatever. So very high transactions. For example, I've read all kinds of examples on Reddit, I suppose, of people going into bars. You know, maybe they drink $20 worth of, a $20 tab, and then they go to pay for it. It turns into a $50 tab because of the $30 transaction fee. A friend of my wife likes to buy a product every couple months from a website, and she likes to buy it in Bitcoin because at one point there was a big discount if you bought with Bitcoin. But now if you buy it with Bitcoin, again, it's another $30. So there's no point in that discount that she was receiving, because $30 is a huge sum of money. You might as well just use your Visa card. So that's a big problem. So along came Bitcoin Cash, and I have it up here, and of course we have the price chart here as well. Bitcoin Cash came about, it started being created in July, and it really wasn't tradable, mineable, and such till, I believe, August 1st, somewhere around there. And as you can see, it just popped up August 1st there, and that's when it sort of really took off. So Bitcoin Cash is, with all bias or anything aside, I am a Bitcoin fan. Bitcoin Cash does have, of course, many other features that Bitcoin does not. But all biases aside, Bitcoin Cash currently is a much better option in terms of using it as a payment system, because it is implemented SegWit to a higher degree, and it's much more scalable. So the problem with Bitcoin is that it works with these individual blocks of about a megabyte, and you can only put so much information in each block to send out to the network when people are buying things. So if too many people are using Bitcoin to buy things, sending it around from wallet to wallet, the network gets congested very quickly. And this works just the same as a Visa card. So if you go to pay with your MasterCard or your Visa card, you just buy something, you buy groceries, anything with your Visa card, it goes on to a network, it goes to servers, and then it just goes out through the world, and then it's very, very quick. I think Visa can handle 20,000 or more transactions per second across the globe. So that's why around Christmas time, when everybody's using their Visas to buy things and you're waiting in long lines, you'll notice that the PIN machines, that you swipe your card or whatever to buy something, takes a while, and you find yourself standing around waiting for it to confirm. And that's just because the network is a little bit congested, but the Visa network and MasterCard and such is so huge that it's able to transfer those transactions very, very quickly. And so that's where Bitcoin Cash kind of comes into play. And then Bitcoin Gold came into play as well. And Bitcoin Gold is pretty much the same, honestly, to some degree as Bitcoin Cash. As you can see, if you go to the Bitcoin Gold website, you can get a lot of information on Bitcoin Gold. Now, Bitcoin Gold did not take off very well. When it first was released, it was about $500, and then it just absolutely tanked. And then it tried to go up just like any investment does, a little bit, and then goes down, and then up, and then down. So it's not doing too well. It's not very favored among users. However, it does go through the network very, very quickly, and it's a pretty nice crypto to use to buy things as it moves through the network very quickly, and all things typically verify pretty fast. And so Litecoin is another great coin as well. And so, don't mean to get too off track here with the Bitcoin thing, but Litecoin is a very, very nice coin to use because it has SegWit implemented, and sooner or later they're going to implement Lightning Network, which we're going to talk about with Bitcoin in a moment here. And so the fees are very, very low for Litecoin. So if you want to buy and sell things with cryptocurrency, best way to do it is, in my opinion, with Litecoin or another altcoin. If you try to buy something with Bitcoin, as we just discussed, it's going to cost you a lot of money to do that. Now there is sort of a fix to Bitcoin, and the reason why they can't just add SegWit or SegWit to Bitcoin and increase the block is that it's impossible, and you would actually have to make a hard fork. So Bitcoin would no longer be Bitcoin. It could be Bitcoin 2, essentially, and just still be called Bitcoin, but essentially it will have to be turned into a different coin, and there has to be a huge consensus among all the node users and the creators of Bitcoin and such to do that. So and nobody has the right answer to do that, because what happens when you start adding SegWit and Lightning Network is that you lose you lose decentralization. So right now, everybody with a Bitcoin wallet, even to to some degree Litecoin wallet and things like that, everybody's sort of confirming all these transactions on your own computer if you have the core wallet. And the more and more implementation of various services that will make these crypto coins faster requires bigger and bigger blocks, and eventually regular computers will not be able to be nodes because the demand will be so high that only servers will be able to keep up. And that's the day that you lose decentralization of cryptocurrency. And that is what cryptocurrency is all about. And that's why it was created, to get away from the banks, because with a bank, all your money is in the bank, and you don't know what's going on. You don't really have access to it unless you go there and physically take it out. And it's being tossed around all the time, and you just don't know anything about it. And so that's kind of where cryptocurrency comes along. It's in your hands, the power is in your hands, and everybody else's. So Lightning Network can make cryptocurrencies very fast. So it's basically an additional layer that you can put on top of cryptocurrencies, and there is no hard fork required for that, because you're just sort of adding more information to the cryptocurrencies, sort of adding a programming layer on top of it. And this makes it very quick for transactions, but again, you lose decentralization doing that. So the idea is Bitcoin going to survive? And my answer to that is yes, for at least a few years. So I know it took me a long time to get to that conclusion, but I'm just trying to set everything up for you guys. And I do believe that it will last for at least a couple more years, a few more years. In 2020, Bitcoin will undergo another halving. So instead of 12.5 coins being released per block, it's only going to be about 6, a little over 6. So that's going to be pretty troublesome for Bitcoin. That is going to increase rarity, but that's going to make mining virtually impossible for most people. Your ASICs will go way down. The money that you're going to be making is going to go way down, and a lot of people will switch from mining Bitcoin, which pretty much everybody is already doing anyway, unless you own an ASIC miner. And that's why programs like NiceHash mine altcoins and then pay you in Bitcoin. And that's why Awesome Miner mines various altcoins as well, because it's at the current time, mining Bitcoin by itself is pretty much useless unless you have very strong and expensive, to say the least, ASIC miners. So it's pretty much pointless for GPU users, and that's why GPU users like myself, and I make videos on altcoins mostly, and how to mine those said altcoins. So this here is a list of crypto coin charts. I just tried to push up my glasses, but I don't have them on. You would know if you had glasses. Whenever you remove your glasses, you're like, man, I want to push them up. It feels like they're not on my face. But whatever. So the crypto coins list here is just cryptocoincharts.info. I just pretty much Googled this and found this. And this is a list of almost every cryptocurrency, or possibly every cryptocurrency. And as you can see, the top 100 coins here is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, IOTA, Ripple, Ethereum Classic is also way up there, Monero, Zcash, Digital Cash, Digibyte, things like that. And then you can go way down here and find some very, very strange ones. So it's really a matter of which coin is going to be on top in the future. And I think that's going to be the coin that is the most scalable, for one, and the easiest to use. Right now, Bitcoin is just the biggest name in cryptocurrency. So when you're talking about cryptocurrency, and you're on your break at work and you're talking to your coworkers, or you're talking to your friends, or whatever, mostly you're talking about Bitcoin. Now, of course, the conversation might be like, well, I prefer Litecoin, or this, that, or the other thing. It might go deeper than that, but the conversation is going to start with Bitcoin. Everybody's like, how do you have you seen how high Bitcoin is right now? Have you heard of Bitcoin? Do you use Bitcoin? So that's why everybody's investing into Bitcoin, because that's what they hear all the time. So of course they're going to go online and they're going to start buying Bitcoin, because maybe they don't know about Litecoin, and they think, well, Litecoin, that just sounds like I've never heard of Litecoin, so I'm not going to buy Litecoin because all the people around me in my life are talking about Bitcoin. So that's pretty much the best reason. So right now, Bitcoin is in a weird spot. Right now, Bitcoin is virtually unusable. And I hate to say that because I am a Bitcoin fan. And basically, fans of Bitcoin Cash, that's their best argument, is that and it's a true argument. I can't say that they're wrong. That Bitcoin right now is unusable. So if you wanted to go and buy something for $5 and just send somebody $5 of Bitcoin on your phone and just hit send, it's going to cost you like $35 or more to buy that $5 item, and that's ridiculous, particularly for people in emerging markets. Venezuelans are really getting into cryptocurrency. I remember the whole Zimbabwe thing. People are really getting into cryptocurrency there, all around the world, for that matter. But in countries that have high inflation, poor markets, etc., for them to have Bitcoin is extremely valuable. Yet at the same time, it's somewhat useless to them because they can't buy things with it because the fee is inordinately high. So what they end up having to do is use Litecoin or some other form of cash. So right now, Bitcoin Cash is definitely on the rise, and something is sort of wrong with Bitcoin. Nobody is really doing anything about it. It's going very, very slow. They've been talking about implementing Lightning Network on it for a long time, and they always say it's right around the corner. It's right around the corner. It's right around the corner. So I think Bitcoin will definitely stay alive for a few years. There's tons of hype on it. Everybody's getting into cryptocurrency, and I don't think it's going to die anytime soon. Another argument a lot of people put up, or rather a conversation for debate in some way, shape, or form, is the fact that governments may crack down on cryptocurrencies. And in fact, that's what happened with the China crash of Bitcoin, and it got up to close to 5,000. I think this might be the crash right here for the one that occurred during the China ban. So China had banned cryptocurrency exchanges. You couldn't buy or sell it. You could still mine it, but they still kind of cracked down on you. I'm not, of course, in China, so I don't know the exact day-to-day life of a miner in China, but it did create a pretty hefty bomb in price. Now this only says about 4,700, but it really got up to about 4,900 and then dipped all the way down to about 3,200 on GDAX. So this only says on the certain times of when it was up, so you can't get it exact. So that was a big dip, and then it just recovered again. So Bitcoin has died numerous times. I think there's actually a website dedicated to, I should have brought it up. I should have found it before I started the video, but it is around. It's a website that is dedicated to how many times Bitcoin has died. And that was when Ethereum came along, China, Mt. Gox, when Bitcoin Cash came along, and it's just not going anywhere anytime soon. So anybody that wants Bitcoin to die, good luck. It's just not going to happen anytime soon. It definitely needs fixing. What coin will be the future? We're not really sure, and I don't think anybody can truly be sure about that. Now, Bitcoin Cash had a few shady things. Now, I did say I try to put all bias aside, but basically Bitcoin Cash has been promoted very heavily, to say the least, to try and put it in the least bias or skeptical way, that it has been promoted very, very hard and aggressively, to say the least. And I think that's really the only reason why Bitcoin Cash is as popular as it is. Because you might think to yourself, well, if Bitcoin is useless, of course this Bitcoin Cash is a good thing, because we can't use Bitcoin, so we need to use Bitcoin Cash. But that's not the case either. Bitcoin is a really great store of wealth. The price is just exploding right now, and anybody that bought in just a few months ago has tripled or quadrupled their money if you held on to it the entire time. plain and simple. Now you could say the same about a lot of coins in that sense, but Bitcoin at the moment is a great store of wealth. It's better than a savings account. If you put $1,000 into Bitcoin a few months ago, you could have tripled, quadrupled your money by now. And no savings account, no investment is ever going to get you that much back. I used to have 70,000 in mutual stock. In mutual stock, of course, is not the stock market, but it's fairly close. Groups of stocks rather, and nowhere near would you make that much money in just a few months unless you had put in maybe tens of thousands or possibly even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Anybody with a savings account with a regular bank knows that you're not going to get anywhere near that kind of money with any kind of savings account, so it's really good for that. So you could say that Bitcoin Cash is needed, but I disagree, and I say that Litecoin is Bitcoin Lite. It's appropriately named, to say the least. Litecoin is very similar to Bitcoin. It works just the same in terms of transactions and buying things, except with way less fees and way faster. And it's definitely going places. I think the creator of Litecoin has generally been a pretty honest guy, Charlie Lee. In fact, he had to sell all of his he chose to sell all of his Litecoin, although of course probably nobody can prove that. He could have a private wallet somewhere still, but he came forward, said, I sold all of my Litecoin, so there is no conflict of interest whatsoever. Because what was happening is that Charlie Lee would tweet something, and it may have been good news about Litecoin, and then the price goes up, and everybody says that he was trying to manipulate the price by putting out good news. And then when he puts out bad news that is honest news, but it's not good news, then the price goes down and everybody's angry at Charlie Lee for tweeting again. So instead, he just sold it all. So I really think Litecoin's going places. Will it be the end game coin? Again, nobody can say, because we don't know what kind of technology is going to replace what we currently have, and we can never say for sure. It's just like saying in the late 1800s, when they used Morse code machines, you could tell them that in the future there will be these machines that use electricity like a Morse code machine, and it's going to create and solve mathematical problems. And you could get that. You could be like, okay, well, I understand that. That makes sense to me. I can't really imagine it, but that makes sense to me. And then if you told them there's going to be these monitors and the internet, and everybody can talk to each other and send data, they wouldn't know what you're talking about because they've never even seen a screen before. They know what electricity is, but they don't know what a monitor is. They don't know what this is. So I think that's kind of the same way, is that what the question of will Bitcoin die is 2 steps away. The next step is Lightning Network, and then the step after that, nobody knows just yet. So don't worry about investing into Bitcoin right now. I do believe it's just going to shoot right back up. Right now, it's kind of having a hard time. All coins are down, to say the least. Of course, Litecoin is way up. It used to just be less than $100 no more than a month ago. And same thing with Aetherium. It just used to be a few $100s. So everything's going up. And if you look at the short term and you see this, you might start to panic. But if you look at the long term, it's a totally different story. Just look at the beginning of the year, it was only $800 and some, and now it is nearly $20,000, $15,000. So everything is going up. So at the moment, it's not too bad to invest into any coin, really. Some of these altcoins are, unfortunately, I have to say, not worth it. Of course, because there's over 1,000 coins here, top 100, 1, and 1,000 plus. So there's over 1,000 coins listed on this website, indexing 4,546 crypto coins. So that's over 4,500 different crypto coins. And now there doesn't always just have to be one winner, but with 4,500, there's going to be a lot of losers. And that's why I kind of like Coinbase, because they put the 4 big coins on here. Now, I wish they would add a few more. I wish they had Vertcoin. Of course, Zcash would be great to have on there. Probably Monero as well. And, of course, several others as well. But Vertcoin, Monero, Dash, Zcash would all be great things also to invest in. So is Bitcoin going to die? Not right now, in my opinion. There's just no way that it's going to die. There's too much hype on the entire globe of Bitcoin right now. Any conversation comes up, people ask my wife all the time because they know that we invest into cryptocurrency, and whenever she's out and about, people that know her are like, hey, how's Bitcoin doing? Hey, have you heard this or that or the other thing? So everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking at the workplace, at home, with friends, everywhere, and it leads people directly to Bitcoin. And Bitcoin Cash, of course, has Bitcoin in the name, so everybody's buying into that as well. Ethereum's great. I've really never bought into Ethereum, to be totally honest. I bought a little bit of Ethereum, never really got into the idea of Ethereum. Ethereum is a little weird, and it's meant to really be implemented into software in some way, but not really many people have done that. I can't really think of any examples of where Ethereum has been put to its actual use, whereas Litecoin is merely Bitcoin, but Litecoin. So it functions in very similar ways. It's not the same algorithm in terms of mining, but it does function in very similar ways with way less fees and of course way faster transaction times. And I think that is what is going to win in the end, and that is exactly why there is a lot of doubt with Bitcoin right now, as the fees are just plain way too high. $30, over $30 to send it basically, and that's absurd. $30 is just too much. Whereas Litecoin might be a few dollars to send it, if that. And so it's just way better. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just wanted to talk about if Bitcoin is going to die or not. If you guys have any opinions, feel free to put them down in the comments down below. Feel free to have yourselves a conversation, and I will hop in. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and put them on down and enter the community. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.